welcome back to Rating the List, where we review, discuss, and reimagine popular movie lists objectively. We're your hosts. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Brad, and on this episode we'll be exploring number 15 from Sports Illustrated's The Top 50 Sports Movies of All Time.
All right, number 15 is The Endless Summer, released in 1966, directed and written by Bruce Brown, and starring Robert August and Michael Heinzen.
The synopsis for this movie is: two young surfers travel the world in search of the perfect wave.
Okay.
And that's kind of it.
Yeah,
I mean, really kind of the movie is. It's just like basically the concept of the endless summer is they're traveling like between the hemispheres. So, like, I guess it's, like, about over the course of a year that they're filming this.
Yeah, I would think so.
It's kind of nebulous, like, how long they're doing this. But, like, you know, when it's winter in the northern hemisphere, they're in the southern hemisphere, and then vice versa. So, basically, it's, like, a year of just
summertime.
The summertime and surfing. It sounds like a real tough life for these two guys.
Yeah. So, this was released in the 1960s, where surfing was not a super popular thing to do yet. Well, it started becoming...
It was more of a kind of niche regional thing. Like, you had surfing in, you know, like Northern California, and you had surfing in Hawaii. And then
Southern California, too.
And Southern California, and then also in... like Australia a little bit, and South Africa. So there are these pockets of it. It's not nearly as popular around the world as it is now.
Yeah. I mean, there was like no surf contests, I want to say.
Yeah, it didn't seem like there was.
Yeah, there was like not really a surf contest yet.
And certainly no real professional surfers in the way that they are now anyway.
Right. I mean, these people were like dressed in suits to get on an airplane. That's
I think that was kind of like that was just how
I know, that's
people
what I mean.
Traveled.
That's how people
I
travel.
can't even imagine.
Can you imagine?
I'm basically in pajamas.
Everybody's in pajamas on the airplane now. This movie, I think for the time it was released, and I know that it's kind of a classic among my generation, our generation of people, Gen X. It's kind of like, you gotta watch The Endless Summer. You gotta watch The Endless Summer. I think it was just this cool thing about surfing that nobody was really watching or
I mean, the surfing footage is pretty cool.
Very cool.
That holds up pretty well. The narrative style is very 1960s. Like if you watch any documentaries from that time period, the narration style is pretty... there's just a certain style of it, the way that the narrator speaks. It's also a little different than like most modern documentaries tend to have more interviews in them, and the narration tends to be a little more like think like Morgan Freeman as God, that kind of narration.
To me, The Endless Summer is a very voyeuristic type documentary, as what we're used to, which we'll see in a couple of episodes, is interview style, which is the narrator is mostly telling you the story of what led to this phenomenon, whatever it is. And this movie, the narrator is like one of the guys. He's like there with them. And he's let's look at Eddie and how he stands on his board. And
it's kind of like gonzo journalism without the kind of like drug subtext about it. They're, you know, it's clearly just, I mean, it's honestly, it's basically like it's like guys that just like really like surfing, and they're just hanging out, and they just happen to have a budget to go travel around the world. Like they start in Hawaii, and then they're like on the west coast of Africa, and then they're in South Africa, and then they're in Australia, and then they're in Tahiti. So, you know, they're traveling like all over the place in search of this perfect wave, which they kind of claim they found off the coast of West Africa.
Off of West Africa. you could go on for miles on your surfboard, just
going
on this
wave. It wasn't a really big wave, but it was like this kind of perfect tube, and they were just kind of like, they were like riding it like right on the edge of it the whole time, which is it's really cool footage.
It is. I did read that location now, the waves are different. It's not like that anymore, which is interesting to me.
Yeah.
How things change.
Well, you get the weather changes, the topography on the sea floor changes. It doesn't take a whole lot to like change stuff.
Yeah. I think it was like Francis Beach, St. Francis something.
I can't remember.
But
but the stuff in on West Africa was really interesting because these people hadn't seen surfing before.
Yeah, and then they were like, "We want to do that," and they started like grabbing just a bunch of things to get out there.
Like this, the chief of like one of these tribes like took their surfboard and he was just like riding, and they're like, "Okay."
Yeah, he just started like trying. It was interesting.
Some of the social commentary is definitely dated, especially when they're talking about those same people in West Africa. It was a little condescending and kind of, it had a not a racist subtext, but more of a colonialist subtext
total
to it.
Like naivete about who these people were, and like how they kept calling them natives, but to me they seemed like they were when I think native, I think that's what they were thinking, like they have their own tribe and they're secluded from society.
They were pretty modernized.
They were very modernized. Yeah, they were out there like fishing and
I mean, it wasn't like a loincloths and kind of situation.
No, but that's how they were talking.
They were wearing modern clothes, and they seemed. I mean, for the most part, they used modern fishing equipment and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't like these were like ass backward people or anything. So it was a little weird for them to kind of some of the language that they used. Like I said, I don't think it was like in a necessarily racist subtext. But it was definitely a colonialist mindset to some extent.
It felt very like Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
A little bit.
Like that's kind of how the narrative was.
Was, it's from the same time period, essentially.
It was very soothing. The voice.
We actually had to pause it. We were watching it like in the middle of the day on a weekend, and we had to like pause it because we had to go take a nap.
We had to go take a nap. His voice was like super soothing, and then watching these guys ride waves, we were like,
my eyelids are getting like super heavy, and I look over and Jerry's kind of nodding off. I'm like, we should pause this. Let's go take a nap.
It was very, very chill. Yeah. Very chill, which was good. It kind of gave you the vibe of surfing, of how chill it was, it was interesting. It was interesting to see where surfing was at that point in time and how it was kind of viewed. It was very much viewed as a California thing.
Yeah.
And so these guys were like, let's just see what surfing other waves are like, and so that was cool. They did go to Hawaii too.
They the footage started when they were in Hawaii.
Yeah.
These guys are they said they were from northern, or was it southern?
Southern California.
They were from Southern California. Yeah. And we didn't really even see them there that much.
No.
We actually didn't really see them in California all that much at all. It was, they started in Hawaii, and then from Hawaii, they're in West Africa, and then South Africa.
Yep.
Then Australia, then Tahiti, and then back to Hawaii.
Yeah. It was really interesting. They met other people along the way, other surfers that came out and surfed with them. There was one guy that was kind of had a little funny sense of humor. Was he like a guide, or was he another surfer?
I think he was another surfer.
Okay, and he was like playing jokes on them and stuff, like. There was like an alligator or something.
That stuff was so staged.
Yeah, very staged. Anyway, but yeah, it was interesting to see like in that point in time what people were surfing, where, and kind of the beginning of the whole surfing movement.
Yeah, I think if it was made in the style that like documentaries are made now, I think what you would see is a little bit more social commentary.
Well, we're going to see that in a couple episodes.
And maybe more of a historical context to how surfing came about and that kind of thing, which I think would have been pretty interesting.
Yeah, it would have.
I haven't seen Endless Summer 2. I wonder if...
I think I did it came out, actually I was looking at it. It was released in 1994. And I think I did see that, but that was like when I was just out of high school.
I'm wondering if it's just an attempt to maybe do the same kind of thing, but maybe more modernize it.
Well, I have to say that when I looked it up and I saw who was in it, I recognized the names.
Oh, it's like pro surfers?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So that might be an interesting watch.
Yeah.
If anything, we'll have a good nap.
There you go, yeah. We've got stuff to watch on the side list, so we can always add it to that.
Yeah, yeah. All right. You want to tell them how we rated it?
I gave this a 62. Jerry gave it a 62, so the list score is a 62.
All right. If you've watched Endless Summer and you want to give us your opinions about it, please comment. Please like our video if you are enjoying these videos that we're putting out, and this one in particular. If you'd like to contact us directly, please do so at ratingthelist@gmail.com. But for now, I'm Jerry.
I'm Brad.
And we're Rating List. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.